it's a core trait of entrepreneurs. They think this way. So this is what Sarah's research was about. That she interviewed very famous entrepreneurs, and she realized that they think differently to non-entrepreneurs.
Welcome to Roll-Righ-In Academy podcast, brought to you by Studio Alpha Capital, a startup academy and accelerator. I'm your host, Fabian, and with me today, as always, is our trusted guide in the realm of startups, Andy, the professor for entrepreneurship and innovation. Andy, how was life as a professor last week?
Yeah, quite well, very busy. We have several research projects running, a lot of workshops. Less teaching because the semester's over, but enough to do.
Great. What's your favorite research project?
No, I don't have a favorite, but actually we are working on a product software service system diversification project. It's so funny. We try to digitalize seals, plastic seals, and now we are looking for new markets where we can sell this new product software service system into.
Yeah, it sounds exciting. Let's talk about another topic today. Namely, in the ever-changing world of startups, setbacks are not uncommon due to internal issues, but there are external shocks as well. As we have experienced in the last 25 years as founders ourselves, turbulent times happen again and again. However, as we have discussed with David Lee from Lyft, staying flexible and knowing how to grow in any situation is core. So, how do we grow? Andy, today we are discussing something crucial in the world of startups, namely the art of pivot. To begin, could you explain to our viewers why pivoting is so important to startups?
So hopefully you see now this first slide. So I would say, first of all, pivoting is a core trait of entrepreneurs. So Sarah Saraswati shows in her early research in 2008 that entrepreneurs reason effectually. So effectual reasoning. And this means that if they do not reach a possible ending that you can see here on the right-hand side, they try one of the next possible endings. And so this is nothing else than pivoting, you know. And entrepreneurs who reason cautiously aim for a clearly defined ending with the given means. But if something changes in the environment, in the resources, or other factors, they will not move away from their goal, which in the worst case can lead to failure. So I think this is very important to explain that entrepreneurs, they think and decide effectually, and Sarah's called it managerial thinking. So a causal reasoning, that a causal reasoning is nothing, has nothing to do with pivoting. So this is one explanation from theory. Then I think that the second is
hang on. So because when I saw the first time, when you showed me many years ago, the first time these graphics, I didn't get it right away. Most people think the second way. So you have a target and you have to reach this target, and you have certain resources and you really have to focus this target, right? So this given goal.
Yes, with given means, yes.
With given means. So that is how we got raised at home, how we are trained, you know, starting by kindergarten, primary school, high school, and so on. Always we have to basically be focused on a given goal. And the hard thing is also in our brains to understand that if you're an entrepreneur, you don't know this goal. You only know you need a starting point. It's kind of moving target, and you have to grow your company, especially when you're new and you're a startup. You have assumption that this product and fits to a certain market, but you also know that you don't know, and you have to try.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think it's really it's a core trait of entrepreneurs. They think this way. So this is what Therma's research was about. That she interviewed very famous entrepreneurs, and she realized that they think differently to non-entrepreneurs. And so I think pivoting is really entrepreneurs is crucial, and it's like it's the way to do it. There's no alternative for them, you know. Yes. And yes,
so basically it's also when you think like, let's hack this, you know. So there's a party, I don't get into this party, so you know, I don't have an invitation. So nevertheless, getting into this party, you know, this is something that's typically you just have to get into this party now and find a way.
Or you go to a different party.
Exactly.
Then you say, okay, then let's try the second or the third one. And yes, but there's another theory to explain pivoting. And since the lean startup model by Maria Ash, we know that stage gate models or waterfall models are not suitable for startups. They are more suitable for existing companies, almost industry. And these process models were enhanced with the design thinking approach. Larry Leifer, maybe you know, founding director of the Stanford Center for Design Research, and IDEO's co-founder David Kelly, they developed the process framework for design thinking, and also three key principles. And one of these principles is iteration, or let's say pivoting. Okay, that means pivoting is a continuous process, and entrepreneurs need to try things out again and again and fail as early as possible, so they can learn from the mistakes at very low costs. Because when you fail early, the costs are not that high when you fail late. And as well, also the risk of your project is minimized by the number of build and test cycles. So this is the chart on the right-hand side. So I think this is also an insight from this design thinking principles and methods and processes. And yes, of course, we should suggest that startups should do it that way and not the other way.
And again, it's also totally normal that as a startup, you will not end up from scratch at the best party. You have to get used to be at parties that are not so big, that are not so fun, are not so good yet.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the way you work your way up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we have the bar party. Do you have a practical example?
Yes, of course. A very famous is from Thomas Edison, because he also realized that failing is not that bad. That if you really want to invent something new, and talking about your talk with David Lee, he's talking about global companies that solves huge problems, very popular problems. And if you want to solve such a problem, then you have to fail a lot. And I think this is a nice quote from Thomas Edison that shows that failing is not that bad. It's a must to fail if you want to succeed. So if you want to be successful, you have to fail more often. And an example from our entrepreneurial journey. Yes, of course. When the two of us founded the company Becom, we wanted to build and distribute an industry solution for the pharmaceutical industry, all right, based on this existing ERP software Miracle. And I remember that only 3 months after the foundation of our company, the platform provider Miracle went bankrupt, and we had to develop a new business model. And our answer there at that time was that to build and sell custom applications based on Java 2 Enterprise Edition. And we then dropped this business model after only 4 years when we started working with Atlassian products. And we ended up as the first Atlassian partner worldwide.
It's also a good example because the first pivot that didn't work at all, right? Because Miracle went bankrupt. Then the whole J2E approach that worked very well in the beginning, because back then, early like 2002, we could charge so much money for a Java engineer per day to the banks that this was a good business. But surprise, these rates basically, dropped on a monthly basis.
Yes.
So now after 4 years, it was just like clear that this is not a sustainable business model anymore. But by doing this, we realized that all these big projects that become bigger and bigger, that internet technology is really here to stay. We just realized that these projects have to be managed in a much better way. We came across Atlassian and became one of the first partners worldwide. So by doing something that works a little but has no future in the long term, it can help you to find another pivot that then works out very well. I remember also a good example for a pivot. It's pretty famous. At Worldwebforum, we had Ed Catmull as a speaker, co-founder and president of Pixar. And originally, that's what he told us at the dinner. You probably can remember as well. So originally, Pixar, founded by himself, so Ed Catmull and Steve Jobs, to sell a high-end computer and accompanying software. The founders of Pixar, including Steve Jobs, had the vision to sell a high-end computer and accompanying software. They believed that the technology can revolutionize industries such as graphic design and medical imaging. However, they soon realized that this is very hard to sell. And to promote their solution, they had the idea just to prove what their software is capable, and they created a animated movie, a short, funny animated movie to promote their capabilities. And people then liked this movie so much that they just realized, let's produce movies. The rest is history.
Yes, absolutely. When Pixar develops a story, it's always from the perspective of the audience, mostly children. Not always, but mostly children. And the scripts are visualized very early with simple sketches. And the sketches then are revised in an infinite number of iteration loops. So the team is always giving feedback to the sketches, to the story. And so I remember also in Toy Stories, the cowboy Woody initially had a very unfriendly character. And he only became the Woody we know over the progress of the film. Pivoting is in Pixar's DNA.
Okay, that's it, Andy. In a nutshell, as a founder team, how can you make sure that your startup will grow?
Try things, fail, learn fast, measure, and then build again. And yes, when you cannot succeed, go back. Who am I? What do I know? Whom I know? And challenge your business idea again, and try again, and try again, and try again, and try again, and never give up.
As Steve Jobs said, to become a successful entrepreneur, it's all about perseverance. Okay, thank you very much for today. Please give us feedback, share our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Die scheiß Zettel sind genau dort gelegen, wo ich teilen drücken musste.